Hey everybody, welcome back to Disney Sorcerer Arena. Today I wanted to give you a talk about what I feel is going to be a good starting villain team that's going to help you go forward. It's going to help you get whether you're going for Berserk, whether you're going for somebody like Stitch, um, whoever it is. This team is going to I'm going to try to put together a well-rounded villain team to help you go forward. So this is the villains campaign in DSA, and you can see here the first villain that's available here in the villains campaign is Chunk. Chunk is a tank. He's from Toy Story 3, I believe, and he is widely regarded as the best tank that the downtown villains have, that the villains have in general, for the most part. Um, Gaston is here. He is a Kingdom villain. We'll talk about them in a little bit. Um, and just going forward, we'll start with these two. I think, uh, um, obviously, I just want to say that you're probably not going to want to take this team into competitive PvP. So this is just going to be for you being able to reach further in the villains campaign. And so you know you need a good team to use in your villains campaign. And so these two, being that they're um, available very early, that they're both tanks. Like I said, Gaston here is a kingdom. You see that I have 25 out of 25, so I can take him up to tier 2. Chunk here is able to take to maybe tier 3, I believe. But they're both very, Gaston, like I said, Gaston is not tremendous, but he does serve a purpose. Like very early in the game, because you get him and he's your early tank. So you're going to get him and you're going to have to use him for a little while. And until you're able to progress further, he's going to be a necessary. And obviously, he's going to work because Kingdom villains are becoming a thing, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But Chunk is your downtown villain tank, and he's also helpful for the Toy Story bad guy, the Toy Story villains campaign. You need him to be able to unlock Lotso, to be able to unlock Bad Baby. He's your catalyst for that, and he's also a downtown villain, which will help you get Emperor Zurg if you're looking for Zurg. Go a little further. I'm not quite to Papa Gantu, Captain Gantu here. I do have him open because you can get him open by doing the Stitch Tower. You just accumulate enough points and you can get tokens for him that way. But as you can see, if you're trying to do his node, you need to be level 51. You need to have at least 5 stars. You need to be at least in tier 5 gear. So, if that's not something that you have, you probably need to put the brakes on Papagantu and just get him from the Stitch event. Speaking of the Stitch event happens to be going on here when I'm taping this. And I'll show you where he is real quick. So you go to the event exchange, he's right here. And you can see 3,000, 3,000. So he's really easy to get. You don't need, you can see where I am in the Stitch event. I'm in the first tower. I've been able to clear stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. And literally all I'm doing is I'm going here and just auto winning the battle that is as far along as I can get. And so they give me 5,000 of my currency, so I can go in here and I can either buy the 5 pieces of him for 5,000, or I can wait and get another couple hundred and get 3,000 point bundles, which is usually what I do, but that's just me. So, and that's how you get Papagantu. Additionally, these are all mystical villains. Madame Mim down here in the shop if you want to fit down here. Queen of Hearts, Jack, Sally, and Merlin. In my video that I did for towers, I talked about how you needed mystics for that tower. And so here is in the tournament exchange dungeon. Here's also, like I talked about in that video, Merlin, Madame Mim. We have a couple other villains down here, Dr. Facility and Big Bad Wolf. Jingles is also a downtown villain tank, but he's generally considered worse than Chunk. But Dr. Facility and BB Dubs are considered really good villains. And then, of course, up here we have Horn King, Hades, and Shan Yu, and Mordu. And Shan Yu is, he's obviously the only leader we have at this time for the Kingdom faction. And so I'll just, if I can get to where his actual player card is, you can see here that his leadership gives Kingdom teammates 12% bonus, and then he gets all this as you level him up. And so that makes, if you want to make him the leader of your team, which he's available from the tournament exchange there, but then we'll go in, and I don't know if he's still available in the other. He was for a long time available in the campaigns, but they've obviously removed him because he was in here at the start for other characters. But now the only place you can get him is in the tournament exchange. So there's that. In the Heroes campaign, Gaston is here again, very first character. After you come off the introduction, Gaston. Damon is here. She's a tech character. She will help you get for any tech. So if you're thinking about going tech, whether for Gizmo Duck or for Hero, if the Hero event ever comes back, she's tech. She's also downtown. Captain Hook, Oceanic villain. It's gonna help you in the. So if you need Oceanic, he's gonna help you for the Triton Tower. It's gonna help you for the Triton Tower. That's all you need Oceanics for. But 3 very good villains right here. Also, Yzma. Yzma is at this current state still widely considered hot trash. She's been that way since the game launched. So I tend not to use her. I tend to use her as long as I need to, and then when I reach the point where I don't need her, I tend to dump her. Then we have Chunk, of course, Oogie Boogie, who I missed last night on the Mystical, because he's a Mystical, and so is Hermes. And then as far as villains you're coming, Syndrome, also a tech character, is right here. And then Big Bad Wolf and Pain and Panic right here. And then it's a little bit further until we get to another villain. Still looking for another villain. Mordu's right here. Dr. Facility is way down here. And so in terms of a villain team that's going to really set you up for success, I'm going to go and we're going to look at the villains and who I recommend that you go for. That I feel is going to best set you up for success. These are the villains that I have open. You can see that I'm close to having Dr. Facility, Big Bad Wolf. I won't be able to do any more Nahiri until our event comes around. Hades is obviously in the Club Exchange. Davy you just get from doing Club Conquest. Mother Gotha, who's in the event, who's the event we have right now. It's a seasonal event. Pain and Panic, Hopper, who I have no idea how I got 7 Hopper shards. Syndrome, Adamim, Shan Yu, Furlough, who's in his own tower. Jingles, of course, who we talked about already. Zerg, who you need Downtown Villains for. Jafar, who is in the part of the Aladdin event. Oogie Boogie, who we talked about. Horn King, who we talked about. Pete used to be much easier to get. I don't know how to get him right now. So there's that. Yokai is very late in the game to get. Shere Khan is late in the game to get. Ursula you can only get through heroic raids. Lasso, like I said, you can only get him through the Toy Story Villains event. Randall, he used to be somewhere. He's probably somewhere, but he's late in the game. Scar, who you can only get through the Lion King event. Big Baby, who can get to the villains, who can get to the Toy Story villain thing. Mordu, who's in the tournament shop. Queen of Hearts is where is she? Queen of Hearts. Queen of Hearts is a mystic, which is interesting. You can see that she's at 8F in the Hero campaign and 6I in the Grand campaign. And then you can get her through Ultimate Chats, but she's late in the game. Or you can get her in the Stitch Tower. But yeah, or you can buy or or you can get this mystical bundle, and you're guaranteed to get 50 shards of her, 50 shards of Horn King, Merlin, Madame M. If you want to drop $50, it's up to you. I tend not to. So she's not really feasible early in the game. So for an early game team, obviously I really like Chunk. He's your best tank. I think I'm gonna, for this strategy, we can go double tank with, so we're going with Chunk, Gaston, and then you see who the top 5 are generally the villains that I use right now. Just because my Gantu is going to be too low to be able to use compared to these other 3. Yzma is there, but like I said, unless you're really desperate for a healer, I say stay away from Yzma. And she is, I'm trying to think if there's another villain healer. I don't think there's a villain healer, but you can do, I mean, if you're absolutely desperate, go for Yzma by all means. But generally, Chunk, who I told you is farmable from the Grand Campaign, not from the Grand Campaign, from the Heroes and the Villains Campaign. Domona, who is farmable from the, where is it? The Grand Campaign 2D and 2B in the Hero Campaign. So she's very early and very accessible. Gaston, who is super early, and I might as well go on and pump that in to him to make him a little bit better. But he is available in the 2D in the villains, 2A in the heroes, and he's also in the Grand Campaign at G3 or 3G, whichever you prefer. And you can also buy him in the Club Exchange, but please don't. Please don't. Please don't. Just don't. Captain Hook, who I've talked about, he'll be available in the Triton Store when the Little Mermaid, when the King Triton Tower comes back. Don't buy him in the Club Exchange. Just don't farm him from 2C in the Heroes and Grand Campaign if you need to. But you can get him from Club Conquest passively. So unless you absolutely need more shards of him, just try not to farm him as much as you can. These 2 guys are very late in the game. They're really good villains, but for starting out where you are, farm Sheriff of Nottingham. Sheriff of Nottingham is great. He is very early in the game. You can see that you can, because of all the stuff we've got going on, yeah, there's that. But he's also very early in the game. He's at J3 in the Grand Campaign. Farm him from J3. You will not regret it. He is Kingdom villain, so him and Gaston have that little synergy. Who I would recommend you go through from in the tournament exchange if you're going for villains specifically, which I highly recommend because they are very hit and miss if you don't, and there are some really good villains in the tournament exchange villain wise. Shan Yu may be the best hero lead outside of Ursula. You're not going to do it, especially if you try to pair him with Kingdom villains like Gaston. It's going to speed him up just a little bit. Sheriff of Nottingham is also a Kingdom villain, so you can get a little more speed from them. He's very fast. Him and Sheriff of Nottingham hit like a truck, so you cannot go wrong with Shan Yu. A lot of people are really into Hades. Can't really say I blame them. Hades is very good, but you can see you're going to get to Shan Yu faster than you're going to get to Hades. Mordu was a great tank when the game first started. Not so much now. He is going to help you for any wild stuff, but I do not recommend going for Mordu. Horn King, he's a mystic. If you need a mystic, I'd probably go with Merlin, Madame M, or Hades before I'd go for the Horn King. I'm just saying. These 2 guys. Dr. Facility is a downtown villain. He's really good. He's a I forgot that he is actually a healer. He's really good. Get him over Yzma. Jangles, if you're desperate for another downtown tank, if you're desperate if you're looking for a fifth for your downtown villains, Jangles is here. Big Bad Dub, BB Dub is probably one of the hardest hitters in terms of villains. I believe, yes, he's also villain downtown. So, you put him, if you're going for Zerg, you put Big Bad Wolf with Dr. Facilier, with Jangles, with Chunk, with Syndrome or Demona, who are both downtown. But I would take him over Jangles, and I would go with Syndrome, Chunk, Demona, Dr. Facilier, and somebody I'm missing. But anyway, you get the jump. So, early game, if you're going early game, once again, this is the villain lineup that I recommend, because they're very early, they're very accessible. You're gonna be able to do a lot of stuff with them. It's Sheriff of Nottingham, Chunk, Demona, Captain Hook, Gaston, and then if you want to dump Gaston as quickly as possible, start going after Shan Yu, start going after BB Dub, start going after Dr. Facilier as fast as you can. But this will do you. This is not a bad team. Kingdom villain, Oceanic villain, Tech downtown villain, Kingdom villain. Oceanic villain, if you happen to be able to do really well in the Stitch Tower, keep buying Captain Gaetu, because you're not going to be able to do wrong by him. Anyway, guys, thanks for the time. That's all I got for today's video. Anyway, if you like what I'm doing, please like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Leave a comment, it'll help. And I'm going to put some in cards here, and I have no idea what they're going to be because I'm still learning about in cards. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Alright, bye.